Let's do some hands-on. What I'll do is that I'll create a bucket. I'll create one or more folders, and then I upload objects using AWS console and AWS CLI from EC2 instance. And before that, I'll walk you through the S3 console also. So this is your AWS landing page, and here you will see recently visited services. I've added some favorites also. But if you are new, you can type S3 here. It will show you S3, scalable storage in the cloud. If you click on this star, this particular service would come in this favorites bar, right? So now you can click on this and open it in a new tab. So I have multiple services. I have put Redshift, Athena, S3, RDS, EMR, Glue, etc. in my favorites bar. Anyway, so I have opened S3 and this is the landing page. I already have multiple buckets created, but let's see a few things, right? So here we have buckets. So where it shows all the buckets, and then we have access grants. We have something called access points, which we'll talk about later on. Then we have object lambda access points, multi-region access points. Then we have batch operations. Then we have IAM access analyzer. I'll not use IAM access analyzer anyway. Then here we have storage lens, and then we have AWS Marketplace for S3, and then we have block public access setting for this account. We can edit this. And remember, if this is enabled, just make sure that public access is disabled. So you'll have to block all public access. This is the best practice, and you should not have any bucket enabled for public access, because what happens is that if, let's say, you give the endpoint to someone and people download files from your bucket, what will happen is you'll have to pay amount, you'll have to pay some charges for that download. So make sure it is always blocked for public access. So that's all about the dashboard. Now what will I do is that I'll go ahead and create a bucket named 3IAM S3 bucket. Now I forgot to show you. You click on this create bucket, and there are two options. One is general purpose and the other one is directory. We'll talk about directory later on when I discuss S3 Express one zone. But currently we'll use general purpose, and I'll name it, let me try to name it as test. So I think I would get error, and it says bucket with the same name already exists. But if you go to my bucket list, these are the buckets that I have, and you do not see any bucket with the name test. But still I'm not able to create a bucket with the name test, because someone else in some other region might have created a bucket named test. So as I say, that's why the bucket name has to be globally unique. Now if I create 3IAM -s3 bucket, so this is my bucket name, and if I have this bucket created by the time you watch this video, and if all of you try to create the bucket 3IAM -s3 bucket, you'll get error because it is already created. There's something called copy settings from existing bucket. We'll talk about it later on. All the other things I'll keep it as is. Block public access, make sure that this is enabled. I'll keep bucket versioning as like this, and I'll add a tag, maybe name, and then value would be 3IAM S3 bucket. Remaining everything keep as is, because we'll discuss, or we are going to discuss all these things later on. Click on create bucket. So the bucket has been created, 3IAM -s3 bucket. Now if I click on this, so my bucket is empty. There are no objects. Inside of bucket, I have multiple tabs like properties. I have multiple things in properties, which anyway I'll be discussing. Then there's permissions, matrix, management, then access points. These are the various tabs that I have. I'll only discuss objects as of now. Now here there are a few things, like we have copy S3 URI, copy URL. I can download an object because I do not have any object as of yet. I can open, I can delete an object, I can create a folder, and or I can upload an object also. Once the object is created, I can do a lot of things on the objects also. Let me show you. First, let me upload a file from my local machine. So I have this folder called S3 objects, and inside of this I have this orders_1.csv file. so I can upload this file from my local machine. So what you have to do is either you click on this upload button and select the location where your file is and then upload it, or I can drag and drop also. So I can drag and drop it here and this and then scroll down, keep everything as is, and then click on upload. So what it is doing, it is uploading a file from my machine. I'm sitting in India, in Bangalore, to an S3 bucket which is in North Virginia region. So basically my file is traveling the entire world from and then going from India to US East 1, which is North Virginia. So that's why to upload such a small file, it is taking so much of time. So this is how we upload a particular file. So let me wait until the upload is complete. So the file upload completed and the size of the file is 476 MB, but it took fair amount of time to upload the file because, as I said, I'm sitting in Bangalore and the file is getting uploaded in a bucket which is in North Virginia region. Now I can close this and I have uploaded this object in the bucket directly, which is basically this scenario. So inside of the bucket, I have uploaded an object, which is orders.csv. Let us go ahead and click on this object and we'll be able to see a lot of information. So if I click on this, so I'll open the properties tab. What I wanted to show you is this, the S3 URI. So if you see, it starts with S3 colon dash dash or slash slash 3im S3 bucket slash orders underscore 2 underscore 1 dot CSV. This is the URI. Then we have the ARN. Then we have the object URL HTTPS followed by double slash colon double slash the name of the bucket S3 dot the region code, which is US East 1 amazonaws.com slash followed by the name of the object. This entire thing is actually the object key, but here it says the key is this one, which is fine because this is the key and this entire name is the object key, and I cannot have another object in the with the same name anywhere in the world. Now if I upload the same object again, it will be overwritten. It's not that one more file with the same name would be created. This particular file would be overwritten. So now let me go ahead and create a folder and I'll name the folder as retail, and that's it. Just click on create folder. So this particular folder has been created. Now if I click on this folder, it will take me to the folder wherein I do not have any object. So let me upload an object in the folder also. I am uploading this object CSV file orders underscore 2 underscore 10 dot CSV from my local machine and click on upload. It should not take too much of time. It is only 47 MB in size. The upload is complete. Let me close this, and this is the object inside of the folder retail. So here you can see the path S3 underscore, that inside of S3 you have bucket and this is the name of the bucket, and there's this retail. I can go to buckets anytime, or I can from anywhere I can go to anywhere. So if I'm inside of retail folder and I want to go to the 3im S3 bucket, I click on 3im S3 bucket and that's it. Anyway, so now I have this orders CSV object or file uploaded here. Let me show you the URI for this. Everything remains the same, and if you see here, the key is retail slash orders underscore 2 underscore 10 dot CSV. So the folder is also part of the key inside of the bucket. Right, now if you see the URI, it is S3 colon slash followed by 3im S3 bucket slash retail slash orders underscore 210 dot CSV. So this is how the name of the object is, and this name, the URI and the URL in their entirety is the object key. Okay, so this is how we can use console to upload files and objects inside of buckets or folders. And now I'm inside of the bucket again. Here I have two files. Now what will I do is that I have an EC2 instance up and running. I'll log into the EC2 instance and use AWS CLI to upload an object. Now again, I'm inside of this EC2 instance, and if I type ls-lhrt, I have these files. Now, how do I upload it? Using the AWS CLI. I'll have to use an instance profile which would be attached to this particular instance. If you don't know what that is, you can again go through the IAM video, which is there in appendix, and then come back here again. Now the command is AWS S3 CP, and from the current folder, I'm copying customer underscore 2.csv. And where do I want to copy it? In the bucket directly. First, I'll upload it in the bucket, which is s3 colon slash slash 3 iam hyphen s3 hyphen bucket followed by slash. So now what would happen is that this particular file of size 5.5 gigabytes will be uploaded to the bucket directly, not inside of the folder, but to the bucket. This is other way of uploading objects. Instead of using the console, we can use the CLI. And the size of the file is pretty big, which is 5.5 GB. So if you have big files, then it's better to use the command line. In object operations, I'll show you that you can move objects from one folder to another folder. But if the size of the object is more than 5 GB, you cannot use the console. So you'll have to use CLI. So that's why I'm showing you the CLI. So the upload is done. Now if I go to the bucket and refresh it, I should be able to see the customers underscore CSV to CSV. So it has been uploaded. Let me go ahead and upload another file in the retail folder, right? So in 3IAM S3 bucket, in retail folder, I'll be uploading another file or another object. And that object is going to be this order items new dataset underscore 2.csv. So the command is aws s3 dot space cp, the name of the file followed by the folder name. So how do you denote a folder? S3 colon slash slash, the name of the bucket, and followed by the name of the folder and then forward slash. So now this particular file order underscore items underscore new underscore dataset underscore 2.csv will be uploaded in the folder retail, which is inside of the bucket 3IAM S3 bucket. So it has been uploaded. Now if I refresh, I should be able to see that file. So as you can see, this particular file has been uploaded. So this is how we can use AWS console and command line to upload objects. So I have shown you AWS S3 command or AWS S3 CLI. Let me just talk about the most commonly used AWS CLI commands for S3. And these are the commands. We have AWS S3 ls, then AWS S3 cp, which is copy command that I have just used, then AWS S3 mb, which is used to move files from one place to another, then rm, which is used to remove files. Then you have something called AWS S3 API command also. First, let me show you these commands: ls, cp, mb, rm. So first is ls, so I'll have to type AWS S3 ls followed by the name of the bucket, which is S3. Now inside of this bucket, it will show me what objects are there. There's a folder named retail, and then we have two files, customer underscore 2.csv and orders21.csv. These are the two folders, and these are the size in bytes. And then I have these are the two objects rather, and then these are the sizes of these objects. Then you have this folder also retail, and I can do an ls on the folder as well. So just type the folder AWS S3 ls, and inside of this ls, inside of this folder, I have two objects: order items new dataset 2 and orders 210 CSV. And again, these are the sizes in bytes. So this is the ls command. Now what is the copy command? AWS S3 cp, and now here we mention source and target. Now the source can be from a local drive, which is EC2 current folder, and the target can be an S3 URI. The source can be an S3 URI and the target can be an local folder, and both source and target can be S3 URIs. So if the source is a local file or a file which is there in your machine, which is in this EC2 machine, so for example, I had used this command, right? So this is the source and this is the target. So what am I doing here? I'm copying a file named customer underscore 2 from my current folder to this S3 bucket. So this is the bucket URI. I can do like this also. Let me create a directory named test, and inside of this test directory, what will I do? I will copy a file from S3 to my local machine. So currently this particular folder test does not have any file. So if you see, this test folder does not have anything. So now what will I do? I will copy from S3 to my local machine, to my EC2 instance. Earlier I was copying from EC2 instance to the S3 folder. And let's say I want to copy this particular file, orders underscore 2 underscore 10.csv. Click on copy S3 URI, and then the source is S3 and the target is current folder. So now what will happen? The file will be downloaded in my local EC2 machine. So if you see, orders underscore 2 underscore 10 has been downloaded. Not only that, I can copy from one folder to another folder also. So let's say I make a folder inside of the folder retail. So let's say the name of the folder is test underscore S3, and this is the folder. I can copy the S3 URI of the folder also. Now what I'm going to do, I'll be copying from this file orders to 10 from S3, this location to this location. So the source would be S3, because inside of the 3IAM S3 bucket, I have this folder retail, and then the file is inside of that folder. And the target would also be an S3 target. So the URI of the test underscore S3 folder, which is S3 followed by 3IAM S3 bucket, then retail slash test underscore S3. So inside of test underscore S3, I do not have any files right now. Now if I run this command, the orders 210 file would be copied to this location. So this is how the copy command works. Then you have move command, AWS S3 MV. So it is similar to copy, but instead of copying, the file would be moved from one place to another. So if I, instead of CP S3, if I type AWS S3 MV, so what I'm asking S3 to move the file from this location to this location. So in test bucket, I will not see any changes because it is the same file. But if I go to retail bucket, this file will not be there or should not be there anymore. So if you see, orders underscore 2 underscore 10 file is not there anymore because the file has been moved to this location. Then you have S3 RM, which is basically to delete a particular object. So you can, let's say I want to delete this object, copy the URI, and then this is the entire location, and now it has been deleted. If I refresh, this should be gone. Same is the case with test underscore S3. If I select this, copy the URI, and type run this S3 command, it should be deleted. So it is gone. Similarly, I can delete an object or delete a folder also. So copy the S3 URI, AWS S3 RM, and then test underscore S3. So this particular folder is not there anymore. So if you see, the test underscore S3 folder is not there anymore because I have deleted it. There is one more command like AWS S3 API. This is another command line. So instead of AWS S3, we can use this AWS S3 API command also to create bucket, to move objects, to list objects, etc. AWS S3 CP, LS, etc. That's a condensed version of this S3 API command. So we'll be using this S3 API command in the topic called versioning. But as of now, remember that we have a command named AWS S3 API, which can be used to do certain operations on AWS, on S3 objects also.